How do I sign my drawing? Well, this question is often asked, along with the second question, and in what medium do I sign it? So I recommend that you use the medium that you've drawn with. So if it's coloured pencil, sign with coloured pencil. If it's graphite, sign with graphite, and so forth. The reason being, you would like your signature to be subtle and in keeping with the whole artwork. And if you use the same medium, it just looks really nice. I also recommend that you use your full name, as it immediately identifies you as the creator to the artwork. By all means, you can use an art name or some other name, as long as you brand yourself that way, because as an artist, your name is your brand, and it makes it easier for your audience to identify you with that style of work and who you are. And as long as your branding's all the same, that's absolutely fine. I do recommend, though, that you use a signature that is slightly different to your legal name or legal signature, just for safety reasons, of course. And also, once you sign your artwork, it declares it finished. So mentally and emotionally, that's a good thing. You've completed the artwork and you're satisfied. And even if you're not quite satisfied and you're just going to store it away, still sign it, because down the track, somebody else might really value that artwork. It could be a great-great-grandchild, and they immediately know that you have done it because your name is on it. And if you do use another anagram, then maybe sign your full name on the back and record some details, just so that there's a nice provenance with each artwork, and it's a really good habit to get into. So I always have a process of finishing the artwork, signing, photographing it, and then recording all the details so that there's a nice record for each piece. And now we're going to look at some options of how you can sign your drawing. We'll take a look at a few scenarios of where your signature might end up. If this was a drawing with dry grass as full background, and we're coming to the corner of the drawing where our signature is going to be in the right hand corner, I would suggest dropping back with your colour and your detail to sort of have a little plain area. Nice sharp pencil. This, of course, is coloured pencil, and I would pick a dark colour to contrast with the lighter background colour. I've picked the shadow colour, and I just simply place my signature there in the corner. Again, I would leave room for a matte if you're planning to matte your drawing, but that way it's sitting on the coloured pencil, but it's also standing alone, but it's also fitting in. An example here is using another media. This is a fine liner. Again, you don't know how permanent they are. They might fade in time, but also it's about it fitting in with the drawing. That's why I think if you're doing coloured pencil, use coloured pencil. If we use something else, and I'm going to make it big and bold, you can see how it just doesn't gel. This looks much nicer. It fits in, it's subtle, whereas this now is it would detract from the drawing because it's a different media, and it's just in your face too much. So and again, we don't know the longevity of something as such with ink. Or you could, if you know something archival, maybe you could use it, but I always think subtle, and definitely sign in the media that you drew with. Now, if you also were doing a background and you had, coming into this right hand corner, you had a really, really dark foreground, it's not really an option to, maybe stick your signature on something like that. You can with graphite. You could sort of gently dab it out, but with coloured pencil, it's not as effective. So I would suggest that you plan it by leaving a little light space, really, really light, and moving your darker colour around it so that you've then got a space. You might even want to dab out a little bit more, but you could use the same colour so that it all melds together, and then you can always fiddle and adjust it to your liking. Another option when you've got a full dark corner is to use an indenting tool or a stylus, and this is a very nice way to sign your name in the corner. I'm using the smaller end and quite reasonable pressure, so that then when you cover in your foreground, your signature will stand out nicely. And again, it's subtle and it's in keeping with the medium that you're using, and I think it works better than this. This is sort of a little bit glary. I'd cover that maybe gently just to sort of subdue it a little bit more, but this is actually quite an effective way. In saying that, it depends on the colour. In this instance, it was a lovely soft colour, so I've just used a darker colour that was in the swan, and that's worked really, really well. Again, I chose the left-hand corner because the sort of centre of interest is around here, and I really didn't want the signature down in that area. Rule of thumb is the right-hand corner is a good place to sign. In this case, this was actually just a tutorial, so I wasn't really planning to sign it in a special place, but I wanted to finish off with a nice soft edge, and I felt, again, if I put it here, it wasn't really going to work so well, so I just popped it there with a very gentle bit of colour around it, and I signed it in a dark colour so that it did stand out a little bit more. With a small drawing like this in graphite, you can sometimes place it on an angle within the drawing. I could have perhaps popped it in here as well, but in this case I just chose to pop it there rather than just sort of sticking it in the corner flat. So it's your choice where you put it. You can put it anywhere. You can put it up the side. Generally it's in the right hand corner, sometimes it can be in the left. It depends on the composition and the complexity of the drawing. With graphite, and I've pre-filled this area if you're coming to the corner of your work, if it's a lighter tone like this, the graphite's going to be fine. It's going to show up nicely and it works well. Again, it's more about placement. If the area is a little bit darker, as above, you can still choose, it is going to show, but you can also use your kneadable eraser and just, gently dab out a little bit, just so that it lightens it a tiny bit. As long as it looks okay, and then it just gives you a place to sign. And again, you can just subtly just finish that off nicely. As long as it melds with the drawing and it doesn't detract in any way. Some people might want their signature to be the focus. I don't believe that's the case. It's about the artwork, and you're just acknowledging that you are the creator by putting your name on it. But and again, if you a really, really dark and black inner corner, again, you can use the stylus tool. It'll work. I'll just do my initials. It's going to work exactly the same with graphite on this, if you're using this, white paper. So because you're indenting and pushing into the paper, it's going to show up all right. So again, it's about personal choice. And again, if you are unsure about your signature, practice. Just like a little scrap piece of paper like this, just keep practicing and practicing, till you get something that you're happy with and it flows and you're comfortable signing. You might have to do 30 or 50 till you just nail it to what the look that you want.